بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. لله تبارك وتعالى. I praise Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. I thank Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, and I ask Allah to raise the rank and the status and the honor and the esteem of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his family, his companions, and all those who follow them in excellence until the day of judgment. And I ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to grant us the sincere intention. Alhamdulillah, I wanted to share some thoughts with you this morning that I thought could be beneficial to us. In regards to Islamic unity and cooperation between different groups in our ummah, in our nation. Many people often get bothered, frustrated, and sometimes disengaged because they don't know how to reconcile the various differences between various groups or teachers that they like who don't agree. So in other words, they have a person, teacher, sheikh, popular figure, influencer, whatever it may be, that they like, who has a methodology, an approach to teaching Islam. And then they have another one over there that they like, who has a different approach. And sometimes those approaches clash, and it puts that person in a dilemma. Like, I can't do both. So I have to choose. So I wanted to give you some advice in that regard, because I hear it all the time. Oftentimes I hear people, Imam, I love what you're doing, but can you stop talking about this, or don't talk about that, or, which always gives me that person is struggling with two hearts. And what I mean by two hearts is that I like this and I like that, but they're opposites. So let me give just my advice for those who may struggle with this issue. The first thing I would suggest, it's very important. Be a seeker of truth. Be a seeker of truth. And with that, you should think of a few verses in the Quran. Allah said in the Quran, Inna ad-deena inda Allah al-Islam. That the religion, the way of life, that is accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-Islam. In another verse, Allah said, وَمَن يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا فَلَن يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And whoever seeks a religion, a way of a life other than Islam, it will never be accepted, and in the hereafter they will be among the losers. So what we should be trying to do is follow Islam and to learn what is Islam. That's first and foremost. Now, once that's your desire, that's what you want, then you have to realize that there is a such thing as truth and falsehood. Truth and falsehood. And you have to work hard to distinguish between truth and falsehood, which the truth is in Islam. However, there are obstacles for you or that you are faced with when seeking out the truthfulness of Islam. There's the devil, there's human beings, creation, there's this dunya, and there's also your own lower self. All of those things serve as obstacles for you learning and practicing Islam properly. They're realities. The devil misguides you. Sometimes the creation will try to misguide you. Sometimes this world can trick you and misguide you. And sometimes your own desires misguide you. All of them play a role in missing the truth. So, as I mentioned, be a person who seeks the truth. And then weigh everything in the scale of the truth. And try not to let anything come between you and the truth. Even if it's your own self. Even if it's your own self. And to do that, you have to make Islam your standard of truth, not human beings, even if they're Muslim. Because human beings have vice and virtue. I cannot take this. Sheikh Aisha Prime said this to us one day, and it was one of the most powerful things I've ever heard in my life, and it stuck with me. So I don't want to take her credit. She said something one day, and I don't know if she got it from someone else, but she said it. I heard it from her. She said, everybody, every single one of us, are a combination of virtue and vice. That was so powerful to me because it's so true. All of us have some things that are very, very beneficial, and all of us have some things that should be avoided. Every single one of us as human beings. No one's free of it, right? Except Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Insofar as he was the perfect human being, that Allah purified him of any blameworthy characteristic. So all of him can be followed. Others, there's going to be things we can leave off. And there's things we can accept. It is what it is. So when you realize that, don't be disheartened when you see vice, when you see flaw, when you learn mistakes. Human beings, they have vice. But at the same time, don't let that vice forget that they also have virtue too. So just as they have this thing you need to avoid, they have good things you can accept. And that's how you can learn to cooperate with people, even if you disagree with them. Even if you disagree with them. Don't highlight only the vices of people in your dealing with them. Remember, they have virtues too. So if I just need to avoid your vices, that's fine. But that doesn't mean I can't benefit from your virtues. And even when you have a different view or an opposing view of someone else, still keep that in mind. I don't oppose everything you say. I oppose that thing because that thing is against the truth. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about everything else. Maybe everything else is good. And that thing is bad. So we're trying to correct that. It's a way where you can learn to cooperate with people. You do it all the time at work or in business. You do it all the time. All of us, either in our work or whatever type of engagement where we deal with others, we run across people that we're not the happiest with. But we're in a situation where we have to cooperate with them. Right? And when it's for your own worldly thing, you do that. Not everyone likes everything about everyone, even when you're in the workplace or, some public environment. You learn to work with people, right? So it's more so that we do that in Islam, right? This is an important lesson because it is Quranic. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us, تعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. cooperate, assist one another in righteousness and piety, and don't assist one another in sin and transgression. So there is a consistent thing of supporting one another and that which is good. And the thing we don't support with another is when it's bad. So since there is good and bad, we need to distinguish where should I support you and where should I not. Someone asked me a question, and it was a legitimate question to me. In fact, I liked it. I liked the question. They asked me, is our cause of division, and he was talking about black people specifically, in Islam, Islamic groups or foreign influence in our affairs as Islam, as Muslims? I thought that was a very good question. Is our problem why we fight and why we disagree, is it the different Islamic movements that we engage in, or is it foreign influence in our Islamic activities, meaning from other than African Americans? So I said, I think it's a combination of things. It's not just one aspect. Not one aspect. It's a combination. Some of it is that we understand Islam improperly. That's it. And then some of it is, even though you understand Islam properly, someone else is influencing your thinking for their own benefit. A combination. And I speak of that firsthand. I see it all the time. Many times we're looking for a savior in a human being or in a group of human beings, when our savior is in the deen itself. Our savior is in the deen of Islam itself, regardless of the human beings who convey the deen. They're a means, they're not the end. So if Sheikh so-and-so runs amok, that's Sheikh so-and-so's problem. That has nothing to do with Islam. But some people think that Islam, its truthfulness, is contingent on so-and-so person or so-and-so group. That means you didn't understand Islam. We need Islam. Islam don't need us. So if you understand Islam, then you can weigh people through Islam, not weigh Islam through people. That's backwards. Let me repeat that. If you understand Islam, you can weigh people through Islam, not Islam through people. Is this point clear to us? Islam existed, was taught, was practiced, was conveyed, was perfected, and not one person on the earth today was here when it happened. Not one person on the earth today was here when it happened. Of course, I'm taking out extraordinary matters because some of us can get real petty. What do you mean? So and so was here for. I'm not talking about some miraculous event. I'm talking about the normal situation. SubhanAllah. So that means Islam, its truthfulness and its reality exists no matter what none of us do. We're not the standard for the truthfulness of Islam. So it is Allah's favor upon us that we received the message of Islam. It's not a favor on Islam that we became Muslim. No, it's the other way. And if you want a clear Quranic example of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Everyone is going to die. Islam's not going to die. You're going to die. Your story is going to come to an end. Islam is going to continue. So weigh each individual according to Islam. Their vice and their virtue. And maybe we should put virtue first so we get in the habit of looking for good in people, not just the bad. So maybe we should say their virtue and their vice. So let me bring this a little closer. We're never going to have unity. And when I say unity, I mean by that cooperative efforts. That don't mean we're going to be on the same page in everything. That's not going to happen. We're going to differ. That's going to happen. It's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed for his servants. We're not going to agree on everything. We're going to agree on some things. We may agree on most things, but we're always going to have difference of views. That's the nature of life. But how do we deal with those differences so that it doesn't prevent us from having productive cooperative efforts between us, despite our differences? I think that's the challenge. Be fair. That's one way. Be fair. Can we all put that up? Because we can be totally unfair. Be fair. Can we put that up? Be fair. That's it. It seems so simple, but yet we ain't not fair. I feel that all the time. Fairness is just missing from too many of us, right? You're not fair at all. You, we have some double standards if I've ever seen them. I'll give you an example. I'm going to say this just for this purpose. How many of you, be honest, feel that we on our platforms talk about the Wahhabi Salafis too much? Be honest. I'm not going to criticize you. I just want you to be honest. Think that we talk about the Wahhabis or Salafis too much. We're too critical. Whatever you makes it. Just be honest. They're like, oh, this is a trap, right? It's not a trap. I just want you to be honest. We said be truthful. We want the truth. Just be honest. Mm. Okay, Tar here that said, I'll be honest. You want honesty? I'll give you honesty. You can't handle honesty. No, stop. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad I gave y'all the chance, right? But I get that a lot. Right? I hear it a lot. But you know what I never hear? I never hear nobody telling them to stop. In other words, when they're saying the Asharis and the Sufis and over, I never hear no one telling them to stop. I never hear it. I only, even the Sunnis who tell us to stop, I never hear them telling them to stop in general. So if you're going to tell us to stop, no problem. You should go the other way and tell them to stop too. Right? And if we should stop because you feel it's not productive, then likewise the other ones should stop because it's not productive too. If you understand my point, I'm talking directly to our community. I'm not talking to someone outside of our community. Even if you do it in the hidden way, then you should stop. Even if you do it in the hidden way. What is the hidden way? The hidden way is to take unlearned people and tell them your story and make them think every other story is false without giving the other side a balanced view. It's not fair. If you truly want cooperative unity, it has to be balanced. It has to be balanced. And then to be real fair, you need to have open dialogue in an effort to seek truth. So we can have a dialogue that doesn't involve hostility in our effort to seek truth, because we're all trying to find the truth. right? So someone asked me, well, why don't you work with such and such? I said, I don't mind working with such and such. We're just not going to deceive each other. So where we have serious issues, we should let it be known that we don't agree on these issues and we're cooperating on these issues. I think that's fair. We don't agree on this, right? But we cooperate on this. That's life. But if we don't do that, there is a deceptive element that can come in, which would make a person think that what is not acceptable to either one of us is acceptable because we're cooperating in something beneficial. Do you follow my point? These are my thoughts. So that's not like sacred law. It's my thought. It's my understanding of Islam after experience and how I think it could work. People ask all the time, right? That's how I believe it could work. We can't avoid truth, but we can still cooperate if you really want the truth. And of course, there's always people who don't want to see us cooperate at all. It works for their advantage. So let me put this out there because it's public. Black people, Black Muslims can't afford to do that. We can't afford to be at odds with each other for someone else's agenda. I'm going to repeat that. African American Muslims, Black Muslims in America, I'm speaking directly to them. We can't afford to be at odds for someone else's agenda. We can't afford that. Is that clear? That works against us all collectively. We cannot afford to be at odds with each other for someone else's agenda. Now, let me say something. You need to realize when you're being used for someone else's agenda. That's your challenge. That's a challenge. You need to know when you're being used for someone else's agenda. And the only way you're going to know that is when you learn your deen properly. When you learn Islam properly, you'll be able to distinguish that. You'll recognize what is the religion and what is your agenda. You'll recognize that. So, in other words, we can't be religious slaves. Because of our religious sentiment, someone enslaves you. You can't let that happen. In fact, Islam came to free you. But the way that happens most of the time is because we don't want to do no work. We want microwave Islam and we want someone to do the work for us. So it's easy for someone to manipulate that because you're lazy. So don't be lazy. Yes, Roland, learning the deen is an ongoing process for the rest of your life until you die. That's why these conversations are necessary. We have to figure it out, honestly. So these are just I told you my scattered thoughts come from conversations I have. And these conversations, they like help me in my work. I would love to see the day in our communities where we're able to work together in a way that is empowering and not destructive. I'm open for that. So how scattered are these thoughts really? They're scattered, Imam Fahim, because I don't know what I'm gonna say. I have an idea, but it always takes its own wings and fly wherever it want to fly. Sometimes uh, it always does that. Uh, I'm never planning what I'm going to talk about. And even sometimes to the point I get to the computer, it start changing. I don't like being in the box. I don't. I hate being confined in my thoughts. That's why you notice when I teach, I don't just stick to exactly the book. I don't. I don't like. The human mind is vast. Let it go. Right? Found limits of lawfulness and unlawfulness and let it fly. Right? So let me make an open, more direct thing. I don't have to agree with people who disagree with our methodology and everything to cooperate with you. I don't. But what I do need to do is clarify what I believe through my understanding and research is the truth. If that offends you, then I guess you don't want to work together. You just want me to follow you. I'm not going to compromise truth just to cooperate with you. I can cooperate with you and still maintain the truth. Where we can cooperate and where we can't because of truth and falsehood, then we have to accept that. That's a part of life. And this question was asked to me yesterday. Isn't figuring it out means we must have sincere, honest teachers as African Americans? We've been told again and again we're incorrect, stupid, lazy by those who say they know. I say the first part. We must have sincere, and honest teachers, meaning all I'm doing is trying to find the truth. And even if I think I'm on the truth and it's shown to me that I'm mistaken, I'm willing to accept that. That's sincere and honest, right? I'm seeking the truth as a teacher. I believe I have the truth. But even if then I'm mistaken, I'm willing to accept that mistake. Some of us are not sincere, honest. Some of us know we dead wrong, but we have an objective, right? We have an objective that we're trying to achieve for ourselves, so we can't be sincere and honest. Sometimes our objective and our agenda is more important than truthfulness and honesty. Man, I gotta get my finger across. I'm trying to do something. So sometimes you can't be like that. That's when you said sincere and honest teachers. Sometimes a person just don't know and don't want to admit, I don't know. Because it's going to work against their agenda. If they discover I don't know, they're not going to listen to me. Okay, go learn. Then they'll listen to you after you learn. Don't deceive them. You don't know. It's true, you don't. Go learn, right? And then, inshallah, if Allah will, they'll listen to you when you learn, right? Never be afraid to say, I don't know. But a lot of people, they're afraid of that word, I don't know. When they know they don't know, but they won't say, I don't know. You know you don't know. You know in this issue, you don't know what you're talking about. You know it, I know it. So just say, I don't know. And then seek the information. It's fine. So that you will know. So that's my rant for the day. I'm going to, as I told y'all, I'm going to go back to the books. I'm just trying to uh, work my new life schedule out, and that's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Subhanallah. Um, so I didn't forget our books, where we're going. I'm just now. Do you want me to answer that question seriously, or would you like a joke with it? How do you want it, Tariq? Do you want a serious answer or a joke? I prefer a joke, right? Nah, Muawiyah is there a joke with Rahma? Okay, nah, Muawiyah is getting ready for Jumu'ah, inshallah, at Masjid Muhammad today. Um, any questions? About what I mentioned, or some things you feel uh, that I may have left out in my scattered thoughts? And for those who were unaware, uh, we're still doing uh, these lessons. We're in the fourth week, I think, which are online subscription. They're going on. It's an online subscription. Uh, you can still join. Uh, where is the finger? Okay. At this link. It's every Wednesday night. Uh, Um, can we raise funds to build a masjid in Essex County when that's an organized effort and it's seen to be beneficial and needed? I'm quite sure that could be facilitated. And there are brothers that are working on that anyway. Uh, but, in time, inshallah. Tayyip, may Allah reward you all. Have a blessed, let me put this link up again. Jumu'ah. And inshallah, tabaraka wa ta'ala, Allah would facilitate goodness for us all. Are y'all benefiting from these scattered thoughts? Do y'all find them beneficial? Alhamdulillah. Hater. Hater. No, I'm joking. Do me a favor. When we say you ask for a dua for Palestine, may Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala relieve the people of Palestine from their situation and facilitate. But don't forget other Muslims around the world who are suffering too, right? That don't get the benefit of their atrocities being spread on the TV for an agenda. Don't forget other people too, because that's a trick of the enemy, where they'll show you one thing and you'll concentrate on that, and they'll do a bunch of things over there that you won't pay no attention to. So think about all the Muslims all around the world. And suffering varies. Sometimes you live in death without being bombed. And it's generational. So think about all of the Muslims, and then be little human and think about humans who are suffering that are not Muslims, and their suffering is the thing that's veiling them from the truthfulness of Islam. Sometimes they're suffering, and because of the intensity of their suffering, they can't even see religion. They can't even see God. So pray for anyone who's oppressed or suffering, don't forget them. You follow what I mean? Don't forget people all over the world. May Allah relieve the unjust suffering of anyone who is suffering. And may Allah ruin the plans and designs of unjust, oppressive people, wherever or whoever they may be. And this is easy for Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. But I had a meeting. Let me share this with you. It really disturbed me. And I said it. I was in a meeting and the people I was in a meeting with was talking about how successful their communities were. And they were talking with government officials about how they can send money to support Muslim causes in other parts of the world without getting in trouble, or Muslim groups around the world without getting in trouble. They were here in America. And in their places where they were celebrating all this money they're collecting are American communities, specifically African American communities, that are struggling, and they're their neighbors, and they don't give them any support. I raised the issue in front of them. They would all say, "Oh, Imam Amin is right. Why is he saying that?" But I said, no, don't say I'm right. Do something about it. You're sitting here saying, how can I stay out of jail to support someone thousands of miles away, but I'm ignoring the guy who's down the block, across the town, who I know is struggling? I don't know what kind of Islam that is. I've been Muslim mostly all my life. I don't know what kind of Islam that is. So, likewise, when you're praying, asking the Lord to relieve, hey, you don't got to go look that far. Look right, look left, look in front of you, looking behind you. There's people suffering. You can help and at least pray for the people right around you. And that doesn't negate praying for others. But I'm saying people right around you suffering. You don't, and guess what? You ain't got to worry about going to jail if you give them some help. They're not going to lock you up for helping your neighbor. Your neighbor is definitely not sponsoring terrorism, right? So you don't got to worry about them arresting you. This person right here is in need of your support. This Muslim community is in need of your support. In fact, the reason you're able to do what you're doing is because of the struggles your neighbors did before you got here. The neighbors you're ignoring, the reason you're able to build and do what you're doing and have free access is because of the work they put in before you. Don't forget that part. I know they don't tell you that story, but it's true. You wouldn't be as comfortable as you are if they hadn't preceded you in the struggle. But since they preceded you in the struggle, you have the luxury now of benefiting from their struggle, and you forget the very ones who struggled with you, for you. That's just food for thought. See, you just extended my. See, Imam Fahim, I told you scattered thoughts just go all over the place. But there's a benefit. There's a benefit. Just be a person of truth. Inshallah, Allah will guide us all, protect us all. Be people of truth, even if it's against yourself. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, if I am available, I will come see you tomorrow, inshallah. So keep your notifications, because I cannot ensure that every single morning I will be able to be at the same time. But I'm going to make effort, inshallah. That's true, Nail. Akida cannot be afforded to be scattered. Because the result of bad Akida, scattered Akida, is the hellfire. And we can't afford that. So Akida has to be straight. But even in that, we have to be fair. Even in that, we have to be fair. Right? We can't let the issue of Akida make us unjust. Even in Akida, we have to be fair. There is called an excuse because of lack of understanding or knowledge. Some people fall into error just because they don't know no better. They're not bad people. They don't know. They wasn't exposed. Sometimes the lack of exposure is intentional, right? So treat people fair, even though they may have an Aqidah that is not correct. Maybe they don't know that and never knew what a correct Aqidah was. That's the case with many people. I thought this was Islam. That's what I learned. I didn't see anything else. Right? You know, that's the case with many people. They don't know. No one told them, especially when we have people who have the correct Aqidah fighting against people with correct Aqidah for their own agenda. Let me repeat that. Especially when you have people who have correct Aqidah fighting with people with correct Aqidah for their own agenda. That's quite confusing for people. I thought y'all believed the same stuff. No, but I got something I got to do, so I got to go against him. I got to oppose him because he's cutting into my stuff. So that don't help none. All right. He just gave me 1 more hour of scattered thoughts. If you need to go ahead. Now, scattered thoughts part 2. Let me fix this real quick. Y'all ready? Everyone who follow this program in Aqidah, who are Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, in Aqidah, who are Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, those who follow us. No. You said it. You let the cat out the bag. That's what I'm talking about. No fairness. Since you don't want to be fair, we're going to answer you. Right? Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah are who? I appreciate it though, Nail. But I appreciate it. So let's answer it. Can everyone put Ahl Sunnati, what we say on this program? Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah and Aqidah are who? They are the Asharis and the Maturidis. Now, does that exclude the Hanabila who have the correct Aqidah? Yes or no? When we say Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah are the Asharis and the Maturidis, does that exclude Hanabila who have the correct belief? Please, everyone, answer that question. See, this is what I'm talking about not being fair, because they heard that, but they have an agenda. So they're pushing their agenda and not being fair, right? So all of y'all, that's what I'm talking about. So the true Hanabila, whoever they may be, they are included, even if they don't say Ashari or Maturidi. They are included. Okay. Now, so the question becomes, and this is it, it's just truth. Who are the Hanabila you're talking about? Who are the Hanabila you're talking about? Are you talking about the Hanabila who follow the doctrine of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab? Are you talking about the Hanabila who disagreed with that? Are you talking about the Hanabila who were in Baghdad at a certain time? Who are you talking about? So that's the question you asked. It's not the Hanabila. You said the Hanabila. You know how many people say the Hanbali? Who are you talking about? Right? That's the question. So when you say Hanabila, you have to clarify who you're talking about. That's it. True Hanabila means nothing to the one who don't know who true Hanabila are, right? You have to tell them, we're talking about these people. Then we don't have an argument. But if you're talking about fake Hanabila, who are claiming to be Hanabila, then we don't say they're Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Do y'all got it? Is that clear for everyone? So those ones who keep trying to raise this issue, right? That's it. That's all we're saying. And if you're saying the same thing, say it. No problem. And you can say that on this platform. Let me repeat that. So I know some people are not going to like what I'm going to say, but I don't really care. Right? I would like an African American, true Hanbali, to come on the platform and explain your Hanbali creed. You're welcome. I don't want an Arab. I don't want someone else. I want an African American, true Hanbali, to come on and explain your creed. You're welcome. So that way, you don't got to worry about me saying anything. You can speak for yourself. Oh, true Hanabila. True Hanabila. It's fine. You're welcome. If you are Ahl Sunnah, you're welcome. And then I want you to explain what is a fake Hanbali. That's it. You're welcome. Since we are Ahl Sunnah, explain. Right? We say we are Ash'ari and Maturidi, and we don't hesitate to explain. We are Ahl Sunnah. Here's our belief. Here's what we believe. And this is contrary to the belief of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. We're clear with that. There's no ambiguity. You do the same thing. And I'll facilitate it for you. Is that clear for everyone? So we can stop the, like, Imam Amin is trying to destroy the Hanbali madhab. What madhab am I trying to destroy? Would you knock it off? Right? Y'all follow me? Am I clear in this issue? Is there any ambiguity in what I'm saying besides the one you're trying to make? Do y'all got me? No, I'm not. Listen, hey, now, I love rec. So, for me, I'm not hey, let's do it. Maybe sometimes I wish I wasn't like that. Sometimes I wish I could just, don't worry about it. That ain't my style. Let's do it. Let's do it. But no, we about truth. So clarify the truth. There's no problem. So last thing, and I'll let it go. Thank you for the extra few minutes, Nail. I appreciate it. I would love for the true Hanbali creed to be explained so we can narrow our differences. Because if you're a true Hanbali, you're going to end up saying the same things we say with a little twist. And the little twist is an understandable little twist, even if the Ash'aris disagree with it. Did you hear what I said? If the true Hanbalis speak up in our communities, it will be a benefit. It would be a help if they be true Hanbalis. Because the differences, and I know them, are so small, and at the core of them, they are not something that we would really be arguing about anyway. They're so small for the true Hanbalis. But for the false Hanbali, who's claiming to be true Hanbali, we're going to have major differences because they're not going to be honest. Do you understand the difference? And I'm willing to have that discussion with anybody. But particularly because this is something that's affecting our communities more, it should be a discussion between African Americans in this issue for this purpose. Do you follow my point? So it's a public, well-known, out there discussed. So if it's a brother who's true hand-belly and they think I'm against the true hand, come, we could talk. It's not an argument. You explain your creed. And we'll ask you questions about your creed. That's it. No one's going to attack you. No one's going to beat you up. It ain't none of that. All love. Oh man, I got time today, as they say. Why do you hate the Sunnah and Salaf followers, brother? Obviously, you don't know me. How could I hate the Sunnah? How could I hate the Sunnah when, by fact, we've taught with myself and my teachers the major books of Sunnah from cover to cover with an unbroken chain of narration? Make that make sense to me. I hate the Sunnah, so maybe you don't know me, when I've covered myself and with my teachers the major books of Sunnah from cover to cover with an unbroken chain of narration. How do I hate the Sunnah? We've taught the books of Sunnah, the books of Hadith terminology, chains of narration. How do I hate the Sunnah? That doesn't make sense. In fact, in our communities, we were the first ones that's known to teach complete books of Hadith from beginning to end. How do we hate the Sunnah? Make it make sense. Maybe you just don't know. So now I'm telling you what we've done with chains of narrations, with ijazas. How do we hate the Sunnah? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Zero. So now that you know that, and it's recorded, it's not like I'm telling you something. You can go on a line and you see either me or my teachers doing it. Now I'm sharing with you. In the Black community and in the suburban immigrant community where there's not a lot of Blacks, we've spread the Hadith of the Prophet and the Sunnah of the Prophet in books that are being taught from cover to cover with my teachers. No, I'm just sharing it with you in case you're just not familiar. So even when you see it being done somewhere else, not in the Black community, keep in mind it was us who facilitated that. Just so you know our attachment to the Sunnah. So that's not true. Now, let me answer the second part. So we take the Sunnah out. That's, you just don't know us. We love the Sunnah. We promote the Sunnah. The way the Sunnah is supposed to be conveyed from the time of the Prophet ﷺ through the time of the Salaf to us today, that's how we learn and teach the Sunnah. That's how we learn and teach everything. Scattered thoughts is just what I do. But what we really do, we teach books with unbroken chains of transmission to their authors, cover to cover, line for line. That's what we do. Just in case you didn't know. Now let's go to the second part. Salaf followers. Why do you hate Salaf followers? First of all, the question will become, what are Salaf followers? That's the first question. Second question, are they true followers of the Salaf, or is that a claim? Because I consider myself a follower of the Salaf. So I don't hate myself, and I consider myself a follower of the Salaf. I consider all my teachers followers of the Salaf. I don't hate them. So maybe it's our understanding of who the Salaf followers are. So if you're talking about someone who claims to follow the Salaf, and we clearly see that their methodology is not the methodology of the Salaf, even then, I don't hate them. I just disagree with their false claims. You heard that? Even then, I don't hate them. I just disagree with their false claim. You follow my point? I don't hate anyone, especially a person who don't know. I can't hate you. You don't know. I gotta help you. So do you follow my point, my brother or sister? I don't hate anyone. Except someone who's intentionally perverting this religion, I do hate them. Yes, I do. But I don't think the so-called Salaf followers, who I believe you're talking about, I don't think they hate the religion. I don't think they're trying to pervert Islam. I think most of them don't know. They haven't been exposed. And then they've been told for someone's agenda, don't listen to no one else. So they don't learn. That's what I believe. So I would never hate a person like that. I wouldn't mind talking to that person. I'll be patient with them and work with them. No, I don't hate anyone. So hate's a strong word, bro. I don't hate nobody. Not like that. Unless you perverting intentionally, trying to harm people and pervert the religion, and that's you mean to do that, yeah, I hate you. Other than that, it's all negotiable. And we can work it out. So you've heard it from me. I don't hate nobody. I definitely don't hate the Sunnah. And I definitely don't hate true Salaf followers. And even those who are not true, who are not intentional, I definitely don't hate them either. So you can take the hate out, right? Am I clear, straight path? And in closing, in a joke, if I hated Salaf followers, I would have been kicked Nail out. But he's still here causing trouble every time he feel like it. And he's still here. Obviously, I don't hate. Is that one good one for you, Nail? So obviously, I'm not a hater because he wouldn't be here if I was a hater. And he's been here a long time. And every time he get a shot, he shoot. And I never banned him, never kicked him out, right? Because I'm not a hater. I actually love him. All right, let me stop messing with Nail. I'm just messing. I'm just messing with him. Inshallah ta'ala, Allah makes us all good people, right? Make us all good people. And really, we can't stand to be walking around hating people. There's too much hate in the world. We don't need to hate anything except that which is obligated religiously that we hate. When we sure that there's no other way to deal with that thing. If there's another way to deal with it, fix it, right? Muslims are not hateful people. That's Islam. I don't care what group you in. Muslims are not hateful people. But some things we have to hate. But is that really one of those things? Some things we have to hate. That's true. But make sure that the thing we're hating is really among those things, not some stuff we got inside of us, right? Right. So I'm not saying you can't hate nothing. Some things you must hate. It's a religious obligation to hate. But is the thing you hating really among those obligations, or is this your stuff? And is there a way to change that so you don't have to hate? Did you take all those avenues, or you just a hater? Which one? All right. Yeah, not ill, no problem. Hit me up. My phone is always open to you. Uh, Barakallahu bikum wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Thank you for giving me your time and your ear. May Allah reward you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.